Hey everyone, just want to give you a quick update on the front garden. It feels like it's been out. I haven't been out here for weeks, and it actually has been weeks. I've been able to do a little bit here and there in between the crazy weather of heat or like the torrential downpour. We just got 2.5 inches the other day in one day, so that was a lot of rain for around here. Luckily this front garden is on a hill. I haven't made it back to the herb garden or to the back garden, but you know, I'm just gonna take one row at a time, which I had to stop and pray this morning when I first came outside, because looking at everything with all the weeds and just everything that hasn't been able to been taken care of for a couple weeks just was very overwhelming. So I had to stop and pray, and that really helped me get through today. And I literally just went and said, okay, I'm just going to do this one row, I'm going to move on and do the next row. So I'm going to give you some of my tips of how to accomplish the hard job of weeding, and I've got everything done. Everything is weeded. No, I'm kidding. No, absolutely not. But I'll show you what I did get done today. Okay, so like I said, I got everything entirely weeded. Oh, I'm just kidding. Look at in between all the rows. Okay, so here is what I like to do when I'm looking at this massive size garden that I have here. This is my front garden. This is one of my gardens that I work in. This is my full sun garden. So I like to put my full sun stuff out here. So I came out this morning very overwhelmed, did a little prayer, decided to tackle one row at a time, and I was able to actually get through all of these rows, which I'm not sure. I think I have to count them, and I don't think you guys want to sit here while I count them, but there's quite a bit of, there's very many rows, that's for sure. So what I did basically was just take my hoe, and I just started on the beans. I decided to work on these pinto beans right here. So I just literally just run my hoe down. Here's the beans, right? And I just run it down this side of it. I go all the way down, and then I come up the other side and run it here. And this is what I like to do most of the time, just to keep the weeds away from the actual produce itself so they can keep growing and overcome whatever weeds. It disturbs all the stupid little roots for the stupid little weeds that we don't like, right? Yes, I just said that word. But they are frustrating, right? I love weeds medicinally, but not in my garden when it's around all my other things that I want to use and plant and grow to feed me and the family, right? So that's kind of what I did. I decided to say, okay, I'm just going to do one row at a time. I'm going to work on one side of the row, work that up to get rid of all the little weeds, and then the other side. And it works tremendously. It really, really does work great. I come back in, then there's a lot less weeds every time I go to do that. Instead of like in here, in the row right here, you can see there's a good amount of weeds in this row. Some weeds have, or some rows have less weeds because of, I've been able to keep up on them. And you know, like maybe tomorrow if there wasn't a bunch of rain, I would come back and I would go ahead and, you know, do inside the rows itself. But if things get too out of control for me, I will just have the husband Justin come along with the little rototiller and just kind of do the rows that I have made wide enough before things get too big. Like these potatoes here will get really, really big and start to cover up half of this row. So maybe before then, we'll see if I can get that. And then when I feel like I have, you know, the weather is cooperative again, I get a burst of energy, I will come in here and then actually weed in between some of these things here. You can see there's some weeds within the onions here. So we'll go ahead and get in there and weed them too. But this way I'm getting rid of most of the weeds, which makes me happy. And I was really surprised that I was able to do actually all of these rows today and cover up the potatoes as well. I did a bunch of dirt on all the potatoes. Some of these this is the first time they're getting more dirt on them. Some of them are their second time as well. And this string right here, these are my pinto beans like I was talking about. I use this string right here, if you can see it move, when they start to grow up so that they can grow up on them and keep off the ground. They are bush beans, but I like to give them airflow so that they dry out adequately enough and they don't turn moldy. You know, when September comes and stuff like that, when there's more rain. So here's some of my corn. I've had to replant some of this a couple times, but it won't be knee-high by 4th of July, but hey, I'm in northern Michigan. That would be pretty much of a Hail Mary if that ever happened. But that's looking okay. I've got a self-seeded little tomato here that popped up amongst the weeds, so if I remember, I won't run over that one. Oh, let's see what else that we have over here. These are my peppers. I got all different kinds of peppers. They're not doing, I mean, it's kind of sad looking. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, sorry, buddy. I mean, he can still do stuff. He's got some greenery coming on. And it is not even July yet, so we've got time. Some of these actually have some peppers on them. If I would have caught the blooms in time, actually I think they came out here with a bloom on here when they got planted, I would have actually picked the bloom off. And if I see any blooms on any of these anytime in the next week or so, I will pick the blooms off just so that the plant itself gets bigger and puts energy into the plant so it gets more blooms than just carrying one lonely pepper on each plant. But I mean, you know, I'll be thankful. That's a purple one. Look how black that one looks. Holy smokes. Look at that one. Ah, those are probably purple ones. Let's check the tag. Yep, purple ones. How cool. And this is my celery. That's the celery. That's doing okay. It had probably struggled throughout the heat, that's for sure, but it's got some time. I don't have too much there. I'm hoping just to be able to get enough to make ants on a log for the kids, because those are really fun to do. So that's kind of what I was out here doing today, is just trying to work up most of the ground on each of the rows, but not in the rows itself. So see you later.